cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in too. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in too. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexistence, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexistence.
What's up, good people, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, Miki96, along with Freddie G, K Money, and Slash. Collectively, we are the Minded Men. I want everybody that's on YouTube to go out and subscribe and click the like button. If you're on Twitter, follow us at 52 Scott Podcast, and on IG and Facebook at the 52 Scott Podcast. All right, good people, and welcome back to another episode of Think Thursday. Today, I want to talk about the homeless. So before COVID started, I used to go out, because me, I'm just a people person. I'll talk to anybody. I don't care who it is. I just like to talk to people, and I would go out and sometimes I hang out with the homeless, to talk to them, because they people just like us. I'm no bigger than nobody. I'm a person just like everybody else. We all God's children. So, I would go out, hang out. Sometimes when it's raining, I would go to the little 99-cent store, buy about 10, 15, dollar store umbrellas. They'd be like $1.99, and I would pass them out while it's raining, and stuff like that. So that was before COVID, maybe like around 2019 and before. So after COVID, I hadn't been active like that, doing things like that. But I've been surveying, so I'm like, you know what? I think I want to start it up again. But I noticed that the homeless population is much greater than it was when I was doing it. So today's show, man, we as the Mind of Men are going to figure out ways or things we could do to help or provide for the homeless, either because they need medicine, they gotta eat, need jobs, places to stay. There's got to be some kind of way to where we can fix this. I'm gonna go over the top 10 states with the most homeless population also. Now I'm gonna make this one a little fun, because I'm gonna have you try to guess one, but you cannot use California, too obvious, New York, too obvious, Texas, and there's another state I had on here that I do not want you to use, but you can guess from the other 6. I just want to see if just make it a little, just spice it up a little. It's not supposed to be, fun, but it is. So, with that being said, do y'all think there is something that can be done to minimize the homeless population? Is there any programs, maybe even, and I know this is from a TV series, The Wire. Do you remember the part where they had moved the dope dealers to Amsterdam, and it was just the certain designated zones in the city, right? If you're trying to clean it up, why not do that? What do y'all think about those ideas as far as feeding homeless, living arrangements, all that? What do y'all think?
So let me start on that. I don't know what programs there are, but in order for that to happen, you have to have a really, really, really major plan. And that plan has to be a plan that works not just in one city, not just in one state, but it's got to be able to work everywhere, every city that you go to where you have homeless people, in order to clean up homelessness. So I think the plan is much bigger than anything anybody ever came up with to do anything about it. And it's probably because most people don't care enough about it to take enough time to try and figure it out.
Yeah, well, that's true. I know that Beyonce has that one. What is the name of that one? It's right over there, right off
The nose in Roland.
right off the freeway right
Yeah.
there. That big one. I know she has that one. I know she's been doing that for. Ooh, man. Maybe.
But- But I'm speaking of everywhere.
Everywhere, I think there's a way that we could just say, you know what, the homeless population, that designated area should be here, right? Give them the bare, I would say, I'm not going to say give them a 1-bedroom apartment. However, I would say give them maybe a nice sized room, right? With water, running water, and maybe the overhead lights. That's it. Just the overhead lights.
So like a small home prison.
Sort of. Well, I mean, it's better than being on the streets.
I understand.
It's better than being on the streets, right? But you, in cities like Houston, there's building, and people that are coming to visit, say around the Super Bowl, the college, in NCAA tournaments, and they're seeing, especially downtown, and you know, some of the homeless can be a little, you know,
Yeah.
to some people they can be a little scary.
It looks bad for
It
one.
looks bad, especially if you're in a bigger city.
So you saying give them
A 1-bedroom apartment
Not sort of like
or a studio.
a barracks, sort of like a barracks
it's a
situation.
shelter.
A shelter. It's still a shelter.
Yeah.
But it's not in the midst of the city. Sort of like, I want to say, the outer skirts. Say like the Alameda area right there. So it's not too far from Houston, but that little Alameda area in Houston, it's mostly woods and everything.
now. What makes you think they're going to stay there?
Well, if
Because
you
you got to think about the things that they're doing that where they are now currently. You know,
I believe it could happen because in Dallas, when I moved to Dallas back in 2012, and I almost got in trouble for trying to give a bomb money. No, sorry, excuse me, not to say bomb. I'm sorry, a homeless person. I almost got in trouble. Came to my window, and I tried to give him some money. Police say you can't do this, and this was in Richardson, Texas. They pick them up, drive them to Dallas. What's the difference?
So let me touch on all of that, man. So for starters, I want to touch on something Slash said where he mentioned not just here, but for everywhere, right? So that tells me, based upon Slash's point of view, that tells me, okay, Slash is not saying just here in Texas, here in Houston. He talking about everywhere in the U.S.
For the homeless, period, everywhere.
Everywhere in the U.S. A plan.
That works,
So that tells
yeah.
me, okay, number one, government has to be involved.
Correct.
Now, put a pin in that.
Okay.
Now, Comedian 96, I want to touch on something you said. You mentioned, hey, maybe we should give them their own little spot, pretty much, give them X, Y, and Z.
Designated area. Mhm.
Designated area, kind of put them off, such. And then you gave an example of, we have hosting something here, how it may look. And so I get that. I really do get what you're saying. But let me tell you what that does. You know that there were people that was put off here in the U.S. Let me tell you who those people were. Those people were ostracized and they were put on a reservation. They're called Indians.
Got you.
So they're ostracized. They're put off. So almost as if they're not a part of society.
I get it, but
Now, just
Go
hear
ahead.
what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
Hear what I'm saying. So almost kind of like that they're not a part of society.
oh, got you.
As far as putting a plan in place for the homeless, here's what you first need to do. You need to identify who want to be helped.
Right.
Not all homeless people want to be helped.
You're right about that.
And you're not gonna be able to help 'em all.
Freddie, you're 100%. Man, I told you, you're gonna trip out when you hear the number one rule. But go ahead.
Yeah. Not all homeless people want to be helped. So you have to identify those who want to be helped.
Yes.
Now, once you identify those who want to be helped, the people who put something in place for those people is the government.
Right.
they got to go through a certain protocol, or for lack of better words, a certain channels to get the help that they need.
Got you.
For starters, I would think a homeless person didn't have any identification.
Yep.
Right.
So I would think that a homeless person wouldn't have the dollars to pay for an ID card.
Correct.
So there needs to be something in place to where if you're homeless and we identify that you're homeless, you should get that for free.
Yes.
I would think a homeless person doesn't have a social security card. I would think a homeless person doesn't have a birth certificate. So you would start there to put these things in place to get them acclimated into society again. It feels like, or it may seem like that they are actually a part of society because they're out on these streets, they see what's going on or whatever the case may be, but really truthfully, they're in their own world.
Right.
And they're not acclimated to society. People who are acclimated in society have the things that I've mentioned, like an ID, a social security card, birth certificate, and so forth.
Gotcha.
So you have to identify those people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make your job a little harder. T, he's the voice of reason. All right, so remember,
I got a job.
I'm giving you one now. I'm gonna give you an assignment now. All right, so remember we talked about reasonings for people being homeless, right? Okay. I'll say about 40% will be because job loss, money. I'll say another 30% is drug related, and then the other 30%, believe it or not, this is like one of the most popular answers, and it tripped me out. They do not like following no one's rules or regulations. I want to be free to do what I want to do. I'm not finna follow nobody's rules.
That was my brother.
Homeless. Your brother. Can you speak on that? I'm trying to make me understand that.
Yeah, man. This topic actually hits real close to home to me.
Yeah.
I lost my brother last year, being homeless over 30 years.
My condolences.
So, and it was by choice, because he had a lot of people that reached out to try to assist, but he refused because of that reason.
That same reason.
And like Freddie G said, they're in their own world, and that's a very true statement. He was in his own world, and he was a homeless person that had an ID because I made sure that he had an ID. He had the things that he needed, so it was that just showed that it was by choice that he wanted to be out there. Right. And by the grace of God, he was able to do it for over 30 years, man.
Gotcha. Yeah. And it's crazy. When I say I'll be out there for real, I'm out there for real. There's actually 2 millionaires out there. You didn't know that, did you? You know them when you see them. You will know them when you see them. They're both millionaires, and both of them are mental. But they both have an accountant over their money. I talked to their accountant. It's crazy, bro. When I be out there, I was on the grind because of the comedy stuff. When I was doing the comedy, but then I was like, you know what? I'm trying to. It's not just. It's about everybody. Yeah. So when I say I was out there, I was out there. So it's a couple of. Now my question to you is the people with
to who?
Like I'm sorry, Freddie G, the voice of reason. My question to you. People who just like K Money just said, they just say, you know what, I don't want to live. I'm living by my rules. I'm not living by nobody's rules. What do you do about those homeless people? Like, we can't.
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing about those homeless people, and let me tell you why. The first thing I said was we have to identify who wants to be helped.
Gotcha.
Now, because we are a free country, you're free to be homeless. We're free.
We're free. Yeah,
this is a free country.
That's true.
So you have to identify those who want to be helped. For a person who doesn't want to be helped, they won't go seeking this program that's put in place for the homeless. They won't even go seek it
at all
because they just want to be free.
But for the most part, the homeless are residing normally on private property anyway, right? And I noticed, I'm not trying to be.
Give me an example of what you mean by they're residing on private property.
So, like I said, in the parking lot here in Houston, there's a parking lot with Food Town's a grocery store, and then there's a Taco Cabana, which is a Mexican restaurant. And in that parking lot, it's a pretty big parking lot. So they share this parking lot, and they have tents in the parking lot. I'm pretty sure. I know it's a parking lot, but it's home to all those businesses in that parking lot. But your tents are there. I feel like that's private property, and it looks bad for those businesses.
You feel like that's private property?
I mean, it is. I'm not 100% sure if it is or not because it's a parking lot.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Because Walmart, they let the homeless stay in their parking lot because they feel like, hey, we'll get more business because you got to come buy your deodorant and soap. So
Walmart let you
go look it up. Go look it up. They let people camp out there for that fact that they think that you're gonna come in and buy some soap, deodorant.
What they think. That's why they put somebody out there.
Hey, if you ever go there, that's why. That's
they
seriously.
allow them
so
to sit out
I'm
there
not saying
to come and buy deodorant.
I'm just saying where this particular spot is. It's a grocery store and it's a family restaurant that people go to, and the homeless are like right there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm driving at. I know it's kind of I ain't gonna say selfish, but you kind of want a clean area, don't you?
Well, I mean, I get what you're saying.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. You just it's an eyesore.
It's definitely not a good look.
Exactly.
It's an eyesore.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're trying to clean up homelessness because you see homelessness. This is what it sounds like. You want to clean up homelessness for a few reasons.
Right.
Number one, you're compassionate about the homeless. You want
Yes.
want to try to discuss and figure out ways how to help the homeless.
Right. Because the next.
But number two, looking at homelessness is an eyesore to the community where they're staying.
Yeah.
And you use private property as an example. You use as an example that we need to clean up this area because of how it looks. So it's an eyesore when you see these homeless people. But at the end of the day, you can't help anyone that doesn't want to be helped. And this is a free country. So, and the best thing that you could do to help the homeless, not you personally, but maybe propose to Congress and the city councils and stuff like that. Get some government help behind it, to where you get something in place to identify the people who want to be helped. And the only way you can identify those people is if actually you get the information out there to them. That means educating them to where they know, hey, I don't have an ID. I can get a free ID without paying for it.
Right.
To go here. I can get a Social Security card to go here.
Right.
Without paying for it. So.
And with that can happen with the right plan. We not a country that can't figure that out.
Exactly. That's what.
They just won't do it.
And so you see how long it took for me to just get a roof over your head. So now we just got the roof overhead. We partially got it solved. So with that, I want to take it further, not just housing the homeless, but this part is really hard. Once you house them, there's places here in Houston, they will take you if you're homeless. However, and I know people personally that had bachelor's and master's degrees, they got homeless. They make you go back to school. Even if you have a bachelor's or master's degree, you have to go get your it's like a high school. They make you go get basically they make you go to school to get, and you have to earn a certificate. Basically, to stay there, you have to do that. Regardless if you have a degree or not already, you have to go. I don't want to say the name of the place, but you guys know where it says, right off 288.
Yeah.
But they make you go back to school.
Okay.
And I mean, I know you need a place to stay, but that is so insulting if you have a master's degree and I'm just going through a rough patch.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
They make you go back to school, right? So, remember, to me, that sounds like they've identified a person who wanted to be helped. And if you want to be helped, you will follow the rules and do what needs to be done to stay in this place, to have a roof over your head because you want to be helped.
True that.
That wouldn't. Now, I get what you're saying. Oh, you got a master's degree. Why would I want to do this? At the end of the day, that's a cakewalk for that individual.
For that individual,
Maybe
yeah.
just more or less
That's a
refresher.
cakewalk.
Right,
But
right.
just think.
Right.
Just think. That person has a master's degree in homeless, but think about the person that didn't graduate high school.
True that. I
And
get that.
so there's a program in place that, hey, everybody who's homeless has to follow this. It doesn't matter what your background is, what this is. Right now, you're homeless. And for all of our homeless people, they have to go through these programs and such and such and such.
That's true.
And we're not going to make a special exception for you.
Right.
So the person with the master's degree just got the upper hand
Yeah.
because that's a cakewalk for them. But that still helps the person
Well,
that's not a college graduate.
I got it. You call it cakewalk, but both two individuals were like, "Why am I going to school, wasting my day when I should be looking for a job?" That's what their concern was. Like,
Okay,
I'm in school 6 hours of the
Let me
day.
address
and-
this. Let me address
Yeah.
that. Let me address that.
Yeah,
So, just to make sure I'm understanding you correctly, the person with the master's degree is saying, "Hey, why do I have to go to school and I'm here for 6 hours? I could be looking for a job."
right. So they had to go to school from 8 to 2.
Okay, we got that. We just said 6 hours.
Right.
So, the person without the master's degree, was that person saying that too?
No. 'Cause-
Just only the person with the master's degree.
yeah.
Why am I here for the okay?
Bachelor's
so-
and master. Two
Okay.
two different people.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. But here's the thing: if you want a roof over your head,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
you need to do this.
You
It
need to.
just
You need
shows
to
if they serious.
and,
Yeah,
and let me show you something else.
yeah.
You know how many people who are full-time students with a job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a lot of
So that's not
that
an
is-
excuse.
That is true.
You're a full-time student with a job.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, they work.
Okay, Coach Prime. With that being said, y'all, I like today's show. That was pretty good, man. But we need to figure out what we can do as a whole about the homeless. Peace. This concludes our show for today. And if you haven't done so already, follow us on Twitter at 52 Shot Podcast. Also, IG and Facebook at the 52 Shot Podcast. Also, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for Black Friday. See you all soon.